I get asked whether I've got any knowledge of the subjects I'm talking about. I've been on radio stations, American ones, and talk for an hour. I've had 30 years of research. So basically, going back to the Anunnaki creating the humans, they did it using their own DNA and the indigenous life that was here at the time. So to do that, they had to fuse our chromosomes. So we have 23. Every other hominid had 24. Which leads us then to the bloodlines. So Adam and Eve's bloodline. So Noah, if you remember, was 950 years when he died. And that's because obviously we or them had part of the Anunnaki DNA who lived a lot longer than us because of their elliptical orbit. They lived for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So 950 years for Noah is actually only about 10 days for the Anunnaki. So the long lifespan makes sense when you add that. So the Anunnaki were here 450,000 years ago. They used the humans that they created to help them mine in these ancient mine shafts. Now they didn't just stick to one place, which was Sumeria, which was the original place. They travelled all over the world looking for the gold and digging for the gold. And because of their long time spans, their names in different places, because if you just remember that if one of them slept for one night of their night, it's 100 years of our years. So to us, we would think they're immortal. And just over a couple of thousand years, a whole civilization can come and go. Rome's and Egypt and so on. Not saying they came and went, but I'm just saying that's the point, what I'm trying to say. So if you look down this side here, you'll see the names of the Anunnaki as written in various texts, and then you can actually see who they represent in different locations at different times. I just thought I'd carry on explaining why the Anunnaki are different people in different places at different times, bearing in mind their lifespan is way longer than ours. So this is Enki. He does love to be carved in walls and huge statues, and they've always got the pointy hat and a beard. So he was actually named as Poseidon and Neptune, as well as others in different locations because of his long lifespan. So if we have a look what he actually looks like in Sumerian's carving of him, pointy hat, as we know, I'll explain why, and the beard. Now this was done, obviously, one of the first sort of carvings of him on this planet. And then you've got Neptune, which obviously came along lot later on by a different race, as we know, different location. And they've got a trident, and then you go to Poseidon, who's also got a trident and a different time period. That's because the Anunnaki lived a lot longer than us. This video is to show you that I'm not just doing the Anunnaki, I'm going through the chronological aspect of our history. So we've got other alien races that will include the Greys, the Pleiadians, etc. Crop circles, how and why they're done. No, they're not. They weren't originally done for humans to see, because you would need to have been a couple of 1,000 foot up in the air sometimes to see some of the crop circles, and they've been around a lot longer than people say they have. And then you've got Bigfoot. Now these are all connected to each other, all these things that I've written here. So Bigfoot is actually connected to aliens. I'll go into that when I get to it. Spirits is hugely connected with everything. Then you've got the Black Ops, which are the secret military complex, which do a lot of the stuff that we don't know about, like back engineer. And the pyramids will go on to about how they were made and what they're for. Forgive me for rushing through this. I only have a minute, so I can name some great books that could really go into some great detail. So we're up to the Anunnakis created the Homo sapiens sapiens to do their work for them, and the first written language is the ancient Sumerian Cuneiform tablets, which is obviously their own language, and that was created and found in Sumeria, which is where the first buildings were ever built, and they built these pyramids. They're called step pyramids or ziggurats, so forgive me for spelling it. So that makes sense, and that's where the oldest civilization's been found, Sumeria. So everything makes sense that they landed there, and that's where they first set up bases. But they did travel, and they travelled to Africa to look for gold, and they found gold, and there's a lot of mine shafts, ancient mine shafts. So while they were there, that's where they created the first Adam, or first Homo sapiens sapien, which matches our doctors. What we say now is where the first human come from.